Hey friends, Joe the Farmer here. Today's video, we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna do exactly what that title says. We're gonna show you an expensive seeder, and we're gonna show you a cheap seeder. So the expensive seeder is about 250 bucks, battery operated, super fancy, and we'll just also show you the one that we've been using for years out here on the farm. So which one's better? Now, in addition to that, we're gonna show you a bunch of other cool things as far as doing deer chores here on the farm. We're gonna do some soil samples, we're going to do some mineral sites, and finally, we're gonna land the plane on this BigHorn 550. We talked about the door in a previous video when we had this cab put on. Are we gonna do the black door or the camo door? We're gonna do that today in this video. So this will be a long one. It's gonna take some time, but get comfortable. You know, grab your beverage of choice. We're gonna have fun today. And I appreciate you watching, but we have a lot to do today, so let's get to work. All right, so let's talk about some of the tools we have and some of the things we're gonna do. So we have a Hooeyman 24-volt spreader. So this thing is actually battery powered, if I can find my battery. It has a 24-volt battery. You don't have to crank like you do with some of the cheaper ones, some of the ones I have been using for about 3 years now. I bought this Earthway spreader on Amazon. I think I paid about 50 bucks for it, but this one goes in your shoulder. You crank it. A lot of us have used these things before. They're pretty much bulletproof until it breaks, right? This piece always breaks off. That gives you your, what size seed you're using, so you have to kind of guess. I think I'm wasting some seed by doing that. Maybe the Hooeyman will be better. I don't know, we'll find out. I'm not sold on the fact you need a $250 spreader, but if you're gonna do 5-10 acres, maybe this is gonna give you some more convenience and make it a little bit more enjoyable. So let's go to the second thing we're gonna do. We're gonna do soil sample. So Whitetail Institute does these little laboratory result kits. They do a great job of telling you what your soil needs, if it needs lime, if it doesn't need lime, what pH your soil is. That's incredibly important. We're gonna talk more about that as this video goes through. We're gonna show you what we do. Now this tool, I got this on Amazon too. I think it was about 20 bucks. And this you just plug into the ground, twist it, and then right there, that gives you the soil. Take all of that, bang it into a bucket, mix it around so you're getting a blend of all the different soil that you have on one specific food plot. So you're not just finding one pocket of a mineral-rich food plot. You're actually getting just kind of an average. Finally, we're gonna do some mineral sites. So yeah, just have some deer cane and some liquid mineral. This stuff has no flavor, this stuff does, deer love it. But this is the time of year where the sun's coming out, it's getting warmer, right? We're gonna start having these hot days. These hot days are what's gonna make deer need more mineral. So all this greenery you see around me that's starting to green up, this is mostly water. So they're getting a lot of that water. They need mineral with it. The mineral's good for them as they, as the mothers nurse the babies, as they start dropping fawns. It's good for antler growth, overall health. Everything needs mineral, ourselves included. So we're gonna put a couple of these out. I'll show you exactly how I do that. So the seed we're using is called Hot Chick. This is by Domain, and this is a mix of clover and chicory. We like to hunt turkeys out here too. Turkeys love chicory. So, it's a small seed. So whatever we do with this thing, I may overseed, I may underseed. We're gonna find out what the user error side of this thing is. So, all right, so this thing right here has a little clip. This is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever done, but things we do for science. So I did watch a video on this thing, and I did hear someone say that if it gets stuck, just to wiggle the little gate thing and then it'll start throwing seeds. So I say we get to work. Okay, so something I've noticed about this thing is that you definitely want to make sure you start the motor first and then adjust your seed. I feel like I got a pretty good handle on it, so I'm gonna see this next one. And one thing that's cool is that you just release it just like that, comes right off. And you do have to make sure that your seed is at 0 though, before you open it, because it doesn't need power to let the seed out. And all I'm gonna do now is go into my other food plot, and we're gonna use some Whitetail Food Plot Perimeter Blend with a little bit of Meadow Mix Plus mixed in just for some more clovers in there. So yeah, so far I like it. Okay, so my first thoughts are, I think it's a really cool invention. I think that, it's heavy. It's big time heavy, especially when you're going up and down hills in this kind of heat. It's probably almost 70 degrees now, and I don't know that I want to do this in August. The other one kind of conforms to your body. This thing is like, you got R2-D2 strapped to your chest. So I do like the harness. It feels really nice. I think it comes off and on very easily. And I think that, again, the operation is flawless. Let's get the cheapo bag. Let's kind of go back and forth, and then we'll compare the two. And then we have other things to do. So we're gonna get working on some mineral sites and some soil samples. So let's do it. All right, so something like this, when you're really kind of digging into a new tool, I think the question you wanna ask yourself is like, does that thing solve a problem? And I honestly don't think it does. I think that this thing, to me, in my opinion, these are all my opinions here. I think that this thing is just easier to conform to your body. I don't feel like I'm slugging that thing around. And the best way I can describe this is like, Would I buy that again? And do I think that you should buy it? If you're doing 5 acres or more, I think it's a heck of an invention, right? It's cool. It definitely less turning, and you can bring a lot of seed with you. But if you're doing 5 acres or less, man, this is just, I've talked before in other videos that we do about operating machinery. It almost becomes seamless, right? That thing doesn't feel like it's seamless. That does not feel like it ever becomes a part of you. This to me does. Like like I don't mind adjusting the flow rate of the seed. I don't mind cranking it. It's really not that big of a deal. Not knocking it. I think they executed it flawlessly. It's a really well thought out design. I just feel like maybe the upper hopper could be more bag-like. Maybe that would make sense. Because if this was all electronic, I think that would work fine. I think it's really just the, I don't know. I'm gonna finish getting the rest of the seed out so we can move on to the next thing. All right, so now we're gonna head to this mineral site. So this mineral site is actually a great spot for a bow hunt if you're a bow hunter. We have a muddy blind behind you, and we have this spot, which it's legal in Tennessee to hunt over mineral, but we're not here to do this just for hunting. We're also here for herd health. So I'm gonna use some just basic crushed mineral. Now I know a lot of you are gonna say, you could just put salt down on the ground. It's the same thing. It pretty much is the same thing. Salt is salt. It's the uptake. How do you make the deer actually absorb it and take it in and want to take it in, right? Because we like salty food, but we don't necessarily go and just eat a bar of salt, right? Same thing with deer. So we're gonna use this tree line crushed mineral, which will go right there. And then that's where we're gonna go with this buck jam. This is just it's a mineral product with a flavoring on it. You could just put that mineral down, the deer will find it. They'll take in as much as they really need. But something like this, sometimes it will help deer that may be just passing, find it a little bit quicker. But we're all about trying to help these things meet their max potential. All right, knife of the day is a SOG Aegis AT. I love this knife. It's very sharp. You have to be a little bit careful with it, but man, that sucker releases nice and it just cuts right through anything. I really like this knife. All right, tree line mineral, tree line is Tractor Supply's brand. It's very simple. What I'll do is I'll get either a granular, like a, little rocks or the big rocks, put them in a circle. Now you have to remember, deer are social animals, especially doe. A mature buck may not be, they're kind of loners, but a doe is gonna be usually with a group of doe. There may be 4 or 5 of them, so you don't wanna just make one little pile to where they all have to get their snout in together. You wanna make it big enough to where they can kind of all come in and have a little bit of space. All right, this stuff smells exactly like Big League Chew. I know a lot of you are about my age when we played Little League Baseball and you had like the big wads of Big League Chew. It smells exactly like Big League Chew. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. If you're following me or if I'm just crazy. But again, just in a circle. And there's mineral in this also. Very simple. All right, so now it's time for us to get our soil samples. I have my trusty little soil sample plugger. This is a Varamus. I will put links to this stuff. It's on Amazon. This thing is super handy to have. But what I'll do now is I'll just really take all 4 corners, relatively 10, 20 yards in, and then one dead center, mix them all together, and that's my soil sample. So I could take 50 of them, but I feel pretty confident that I know what this is. I check it pretty often, but hopefully by the end of this video, we'll also have the soil samples to send, to put in the video. So let's go over to this corner, see how that much soil comes out. It's a pretty good sample. So this is about how much soil you get. We're really just trying to figure out the pH of the soil is, how much lime we would need, how much fertilizer we need, that kind of stuff. So 3 more corners to do, then 1 in the center. So that'll give you a pretty good average of what you have in this plot. And you really don't need much. I mean, that's probably enough to send to them. And we have taken now, 4 or 5 different samples from different spots. With this being, slanted, sometimes you can have a different mineral composition or pH on a different side. That'll just give us a good idea to be even. So, all right, so now as we do soil samples, what we're gonna do is, these Whitetail Institute things are very simple. All you do is you open up this little kit, and there's all kinds of paperwork in there which you can fill out, but there's a little white bag that it says fill to this line, so you put that much material in there, and then you just fill it out. You can even say what plot name it is. So if you have, like, we call that the Narnia plot, or this is the Hilltop plot. So we can put that in there so we don't get anything confused. All right, now that we have our soil sample done, we're gonna go ahead and put this in the side-by-side market, and I'm gonna let you all know as we wrap this video up if you chose black or camo. Well, friends, you see you chose the camo. So overwhelmingly, you all picked camo. I think it was like me and 3 other people like black. Everybody was like camo. It was like camo, 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 camo. I was like, fine, we'll do the camo. Had to wait for it to warm up a little bit so that plastic wouldn't crack, but I think it looks great. I think you guys made a good choice, and I appreciate everyone who weighed in on that. So we've had a big day. We did a lot of stuff today. We frost seeded some clover and some chicory. We tried out 2 different seeders. We tried out that expensive one versus the cheap one I've been using forever. Did some mineral sites. I appreciate y'all coming along with us. If your first time here or 500th time here, we would appreciate if you give us a like. Subscribe if you haven't. It's free. Doesn't cost you a nickel. Some people think it does, but we're not doing channel memberships or anything like that, so it's completely free. We'd love to have you come along with us in the future. And we're going to call this a day. I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm Joe the Farmer. We out.